questions?
Thank you.
Off you go.
Very good.
So Ben, where is your electorate and what do you love about it?
Well, I've got the best electorate in Western Australia. It just follows the southern part of the Swan River and the Canning River, located between the Perth City and Fremantle. It's a fantastic place.
It is beautiful. And what do you love about it?
Look, I love that we're not far from the city, but on the weekend you can feel like you're a million miles away.
Yeah.
It's a really diverse electorate, and it's a very multicultural electorate as well, which is really important. A lot of Chinese, Indians, a lot of Malaysian people who've come and made their home in Tangney. It's a very entrepreneurial community, which is something I really, really like.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, how about your electorate?
So my electorate is Cowan, and so that's the northern suburbs of Perth. What I love about it, first of all, is that it's much warmer than Canberra.
Absolutely.
But I also really love the sense of community in my electorate. There are a lot of community organisations, there are a lot of schools. Like your electorate, it is diverse, not just in terms of ethnicity and people, but also there are age diversity. There's age diversity too. So it consists of some really older suburbs, but also newer suburbs that are coming up with young families. And I just love the way that everybody comes together. I live across the road from the big sporting complex, and it's just great on the weekend to see everybody, just about everybody in the electorate there watching a footy game or watching a netball game.
How have you found your first year in Parliament?
Oh, it's I didn't really know what to expect because, as you know, I'm pretty new to all of this, and it's taken a while to kind of, I guess, find my my tempo, because as you know, the work that you do in your electorate, and then you come here and it's a completely different world, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And it's almost like a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde personality that you have to have. But the diversity of the work is fantastic. I love the work that we get to do on committees. I found it challenging, but extremely interesting and very rewarding.
Picking up on what you said, exactly how I felt. You have these two personalities. I hate wearing suits. So
I get it.
So when I'm back at home in the electorate, I'm chinos, and my wife says I have all the same checkered shirts anyway. But sleeves rolled up. That's a very different personality out and about in schools and in communities and helping people than when you're here and you're a parliamentarian. So dealing with the two different personalities in your life as an MP has been quite fascinating.
It is. It is. I find it one of the most challenging things. But you do find your step, don't you? It takes a while, but you do find your step. So, speaking about challenges, what do you think has been the biggest challenge for you in your new role?
Managing time.
Yeah.
Managing time has been something else, because when new members, we want to do the very best we can, and so we say yes to everything.
Oh my God, yeah.
And what happens is that then we have all these 15-minute meetings, and I used to get to the end of the day, and I'd never be alone at any point in that day, and I go, what have I done today? I'm like, I've done nothing. And so if there are meeting requests that are outside of the things that I'm particularly focused on, I've learnt to say no, not to be disrespectful, but to say, I need to spend more time doing the things I'm doing really well, as opposed to spending a lot of time doing a whole range of things and actually achieving nothing. And that's been a challenge. I couldn't get that right in the first 6 months.
I think also one of the biggest challenges, especially for us coming from WA, is that distance and that time away from family. I've found quite challenging. But also, and I think you might relate, before I did this, the kind of work that I did was very specific, and you delved really deep into a single issue, and you got to know so much about a single issue, whereas in this role you kind of have to be on top of everything. The work that I did before was very academic oriented, but also I considered myself a pracademic, so always looked for
I haven't
practical.
heard that one before. You always learn new terms.
It's a new word.
It's
a new word. I'm determined to get it into the dictionary one day. But pracademic, so always looking for practical outcomes for my work. And so I guess I kind of carry that here as well. So like you said, at the end of the day, you go, what have I done today? You're consistently searching for what are the practical outcomes and how am I able to navigate all of this craziness in a way to be able to get that.
You know,
And yourself?
it's interesting because I worked as a school bus driver when I was at uni.
Did you?
Yeah, absolutely. And like dealing with school kids, taking them home from school is a little bit like being a member of parliament as well.
Yeah.
The behaviour is sometimes similar, but
I don't know.
I've worked as a CEO or state director of the Liberal Party in Western Australia, and that's managing a very large membership-based organisation with competing ideas and interests. It's been certainly very involved in politics and political campaigns. That's helped, but one of the things that surprised me is because of my past role in a different political role, people assume that I would be more like a duck to water in this one.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I feel like people aren't telling me things because they think that I already know them.
Yeah.
And as a new member, that just hasn't been the case whatsoever. This place is a different world.
It
These
is.
bells start ringing, and you've got to run somewhere, and it's
Pavlov's dogs, aren't we?
Yeah. So I suppose we are who we are because of our experiences in life.
So the next question for you is, what committees are you on, and how important do you think the role of committees are?
I think they are the part of Parliament that people don't get to see enough of. I've just come from a committee which I'm the chairman of. I'm the chairman of the Joint Standing Committee for the National Capital and External Territories. We've just completed an inquiry into the importance of the Indian Ocean territories. People think that Western Australia is our border. Actually, it's Christmas and Cocos Island, and we are able to look at those issues in a very non-political way and get down into that level of detail. And I've made some really good friends across the chamber in the Labor Party because of my work on those committees. And I just wish more people got to see that. And I suppose that's what we're doing today, is to show people exactly how we operate behind the scenes, which is important.
Absolutely, completely agree with you. I'm on 2 committees, and I work with people on the other side, and you develop a kind of a bond and a friendship over issues of common interest, and you work on ways of resolving those issues of common interest. So I'm on the Law Enforcement Committee, which I absolutely love because we look at issues of law enforcement. We've just completed an inquiry into illicit tobacco, and another inquiry into human trafficking, which is fascinating. People don't get to see that. What people see is the 1 hour or so of question time and the kind of tit for tat that happens in the media, but that's really not what this place is about, is it?
No, look, it's not, and I'm glad we're actually having the opportunity now to talk about the committee process, because that's where an amazing amount of work gets done on fixing the legislation that needs to be assessed and the issues that need to be addressed by the Parliament.
Exactly,
which is important.
and that's where you can also take issues. So if you've got big issues that you've observed in your electorate, because I'm constantly trying to figure out how does Canberra relate to Cowan? What's the link between Canberra and Cowan? And I'm the link. I'm the link. So you can kind of take the issues that you see in your electorate and bring them here, and I guess that's that honour and that privilege. What advice would you give to young people aspiring to become involved in politics, other than don't do it?
Well, look, my core principles are around reward for effort, and I wasn't a smart kid at high school. But the canteen lady on my first day of Year 7 said, here at high school, it doesn't matter where you're from or how smart you are, it's how hard you work.
Wow.
And that's a value that I've really taken with me. So my advice to any young kid, regardless if they want to be involved in politics or anything else, is that you can determine your ability to reach your full potential through the application of your effort. I think that's really important. In relation to politics specifically, what upsets me is that there is... and it's upset me as an MP that there are so many people that have a view on an issue, think that their view is the only valid view, and are unwilling to listen to someone else's view. And that offends me as someone who loves democracy. And so my advice to young people, be really critical of the information that you're getting. Don't just get your news from one news site. Look around different news sites. Have an understanding of the people that you don't agree with. What is the basis of their arguments that have convinced them, and be really critical of the information that you get. I think that's really, really important.
I think that's fantastic advice, not just for a career in politics, but in life generally. That's fantastic advice.
What do you reckon?
Well, you mentioned the canteen lady who said that to you in Year 7.
I paid a lot of attention to the canteen lady.
You must have liked your meat pies.
And the finger buns and everything else.
But when I was finishing high school, I don't recall ever wanting to be a politician, but on my last day in high school, my art teacher handed me this card, and with tears in her eyes as she said goodbye to me. And I opened up the card and it said, "Dear Anne, do not be disappointed if your life doesn't turn out the way that you imagined it to be in the heady days of being 17. And I put it aside because I thought, what does she know? I'm going to follow all my dreams. I'm going to do everything that I said I was going to do, and my life is going to turn out exactly how I want it because I've got absolute control over everything that I do.
And what was one of those dreams?
Well, it was to be a lawyer, and I've never ever studied law.
Were you making the law?
Making the law,
The bells
but
are
never
ringing,
ever studied law.
they're red, so we can keep
We're
going.
fine. Oh, that's good. Oh, look, they even have bells. They even have lights
Bells in
and
the
bells out
garden.
here. You can't escape, can you? So my advice has always been to young people, don't be disappointed if your life doesn't turn out the way that you imagined it to be. Life is an adventure, and I've changed careers that many times, and I would never have thought that I would end up in this place. Never have thought that I would end up in this place. So my advice for young people, especially when I go and talk to schools and they're, you know, these 16 and 15-year-olds, and they're like, you know, so caught up in having to make a choice about their future lives at such a young age. I always say, do what you love.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, do what you love. Go to uni and study what you love. And if you can be one of those people who gets to do what they love, you are truly blessed.
But do what you love and do it well.
Exactly.
Apply that effort,
Yeah.
and that's really important, because I always find that if you apply your full effort to something, the full potential you thought you had might be bigger, might be further. You know, and that's really
Absolutely.
important. But my fingers are about to freeze off.
Yeah,
It is
mine too.
absolutely
It is so cold
freezing outside. So
it's been so good. Thank you. This is great to get to know you a little bit
absolutely.
more as well.
You know, this feels a little bit like talking pictures. So back to you, Barry.